Hey guys, BlockBusterTech here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys the aftermath of the Apple WWDC Keynote 2019. Now, this is something that happens every single year, so we cannot stop with these things, but this is for 2019 here, and we are talking a lot of stuff today. So we are talking about, the new iOS 13 beta that's I have right now on this iPhone, and I'm also be going to covering the macOS Catalina. I also have the beta on my Mac Mini. And we have a lot of stuff to talk about today, so without further ado, let's just jump into the video. Now before I start this video, I just want to get one word out there. Just if you're planning to update to the developer beta or say the public beta just came out like few days ago, I just don't recommend to do so because already I'm seeing a lot of bugs on iOS 13 itself, and macOS is not that bad, but then it's like definitely there are a few bugs. So I just don't recommend upgrading right now. Maybe wait for a few more betas to roll out, and then most of the bugs should be fixed by then. So I recommend you to go ahead and wait for that. But if you're really curious, you can just go ahead and follow the instructions of my blog to go ahead and download iOS 13 on your supported device. Now, yes, I did say a supported device because yes, iPhone 5s and iPhone 6 will not be getting iOS 13, but thankfully iPhone SE, so I can show you guys the first look at iOS 13. So let's jump right in. Now, of course, the most hyped up feature of iOS and probably the most requested feature of any operating system in the past has to be dark mode, and finally, you don't have to jailbreak your iPhone to do that anymore. It's right here, it's on iOS 13 right here, so as you can see right here, there's dark mode on iOS 13, which is like when we announced dark mode, the whole crowd just went like, oh yes, finally. So yeah, there is dark mode, so it's just makes everything dark, I guess, but yeah, it's more than that. So it's much more than just making the whole white interface just completely the opposite color. That's not exactly what it is. There are a few gray elements and a few completely dark elements which give a really nice feel to the operating system, and just doesn't look like they just patch out all the white and just throw in the black. It doesn't look like that. It looks like they actually put some thought into it, and I really like it. It's like something you just turn on and you forget about it. And also, if you're having an OLED iPhone, say the iPhone 10, 10s or 10s Max, you're going to see some battery life improvements because of course it turns off those LEDs. But if you're having a normal iPhone with an LCD display for that matter, or like the 10R, you're gonna just get almost the same battery life. That's dark mode, I guess. So yeah. The second biggest change to iOS 13 now is a completely revamped Reminders app. So the Reminders app has been like the same for like 5 or 6, 7 years now. It was starting to feel a little dated and was not really designed all that well. But finally we get a nice redesign. So right here's the Reminders app itself. So if I go in here, if I tap on Reminders, iCloud, so this will sync between all my devices, but that will still sync even if you put it in 2 days. So I don't understand that, but whatever. So if you open up the Reminders, and as you can see, I have my reminder, finished recording my iOS 13 and macOS Catalina video. So I had to do this back in 1:30 p.m. but as you can see right now it's 4:09. I'm just late. So yeah, it's not working on me much, but then like it's revamped. So it's like you have different views. I think on macOS you have like different time views and stuff, so that's great. So you have the scheduled and stuff like that. You can go ahead and take this because I am doing it right now. So yeah, that's the Reminders app. Now the third biggest feature is something most people won't really recognize if they have an iPhone that supports 3D touch. But me, I don't. I have the iPhone SE. So for phones like the iPhone SE and the iPhone 10R that don't have 3D touch, they kind of just bought that feature over now. So if you go ahead and like kind of long press but not very long press, I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, if I go ahead and just slightly long press on this, it's gonna bring up this little view right here. So I can go ahead and maybe camera, and then I can maybe record video. So I can go ahead and show you guys my setup right here. So I can go ahead and do that. So I can jump directly in there. So I can go ahead and take a photo. So switch to the photo mode. It just basically works like how 3D touch works all the time. So yeah, and it also works in the control center. So go ahead and that was already there, but it's just a little quicker now, which is I think better. And of course, speaking of the control center, they kind of revamped it now, so you can go ahead and hold on the Wi-Fi icons and you can see all the Wi-Fi options and Bluetooth and stuff. And I get it, okay? Android fanboys, don't go to the comments room and say that Android has that for 7 years. I don't care about those comments, okay? And if you need to turn on dark mode and, turn on light mode, and that is right. And you can also toggle and turn off dark mode right here in the control center. Now speaking of dark mode, yes, I already did cover it, but then I completely forgot about this. But if you go into settings right here and go ahead to display and brightness, you can see that there's the light and dark mode. So if I switch to dark mode right here and turn on automatic, it's going to turn on dark mode and turn on light mode whenever it needs to do it. So if it's example, it's going to be night today, so it's going to be dark, so it'll automatically turn on the dark mode. But when it's in the morning, it's going to turn on light mode because that just makes sense. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to dark guys. So yeah. Now this is one of the features that many people have been asking for a really long time, but it's finally here. So the Messages app, if you go ahead and open that up, and as you can see, there are 2 new buttons on the top. So if I go ahead and hit this button, that's just the new message button. So I'm not going to talk about that. It's already there. So now you can hit the 3 dots button and it says select messages. So that was basically right there, but it's moved in here because of these 2 buttons. And now as you can see, there's a new option called edit name and photo. So if I go ahead and tap on this, as you can see, it shows up a little menu where you can set the photo that other people want to see when they text you in through iMessage or anything else like SMS or something. They're going to see this picture when they do so. So you can go ahead and edit your name here. So if I go ahead and put in here, so if I go ahead and change my name to iOS 13, which I should probably not do, so my name would be iOS 13. People will be messaging iOS 13. So yeah, you can go ahead and change your name right there. I'm not changing it. And of course, you can also add a photo. So for example, I'm going to add this photo right here. So I'm going to add so right here. And you can also add a photo, so say I want to add this photo or something else. So I can go ahead and also, there's something new with this update. So of course the memojis are here, so I don't get them really, but they're cool, I guess. So you can't really customize these because if you don't have an iPhone 10 series device like the 10, the 10R or 10s Max or 10s Max or 10s or 10s Max, or you can also add your emoji, which you can actually edit on an iPhone that doesn't have the true depth camera system. Or in simpler words, an iPhone that doesn't have the notch or the full screen display that has the home button that wouldn't be able to do this. But you can always go ahead and choose something. I'm completely normal. Yep. I'm gonna. Yeah. So now, next time anyone texts me, they're gonna see this. This 5th one is a pretty big one because there is this new app called Find My. So if you go ahead and launch this app right now, as you can see, there's all my devices. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to locate my devices. So I can just click on this devices tab. And as you can see here, there's my MacBook Air. So I can go ahead and play a sound maybe. Or this device is not on right now, so I can't really do anything with this. But if I go ahead and say something like my Mac Mini, which is actually turned on right now, I can go ahead and play a sound. Yep. Stop, please. Oh no. So that's the Find My app. Probably one of the most unnoticeable changes is gotta be to the Photos app. So if you go ahead and see here, I just have some weird photos. Don't mind me. Don't. So if I go ahead and open up a photo here, this is a photo of me making something. So I can go ahead and hit edit here, and there are so many options. So I can go ahead and, adjust my exposure so I can make it really bright or really, really dark, which is probably something you should not do. And you can go ahead and change the brilliance and, just the highlights and stuff. That's right there, so you can change that. And highlights, which is just the color levels and stuff. And you can of course change everything about a photos. You have millions of options which I probably don't even know what they do, but yeah, I'm not. So that's the Photos app, and you also have a little bit of a different view here, so you can go ahead and check out what different views are here. So that's a welcome. So yeah, and the final revamped application has to be the music app. So if I go ahead and open it right here, as you can see, it doesn't look that different, but it's just when you go in here that's a little different. So if I go ahead and play a song here, I do not want to get a copyright strike from someone, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn up there. So I'm not gonna play that because I might get a copyright strike. So if I go here and hit this button, so this little button right here, as you can see, it shows the lyrics for the song. So I can go ahead and play this, and it sings the lyrics with the song. So it's very neat. So you can go ahead and skip through this, so I can tap on this to go ahead and skip to that particular part of that song, which is really neat. So yeah, I'm really big fan of this feature. I'm not sure how much I'm going to use it, but yeah, I have pretty high hopes for this feature. So yeah, I really like it. And of course, the long range view has been removed. There's a bit of a simpler view here. If I go ahead and hit these three dots, it's going to give me a it's going to be a slight simpler design. So yeah, very appreciated of Apple. And of course, I was jumping between the applications. You saw that the dark theme was everywhere, so that is very nice. All the Apple applications right now have the dark mode implemented, so that's great. So that is pretty much it for iOS 13. So now we're going to quickly go ahead and check out what macOS Catalina has for us. So I have the macOS Catalina beta on my 2012 Mac Mini running and ready to go. So this is a very early stage of the software, so there are very few bugs which are very annoying. So I just recommend you don't do this on your main machine because it made something happen to mine. I mean, Motion, which is a very important application, at least for me, completely stopped working, and I was like, come on. And I really wanted to downgrade back to Mojave, but I really wanted to make a video too, so I'm probably going to make this video and downgrade my Mac again to Mojave, because life without Motion is... So switching back to the iPhone camera, much better. Samsung fan was on fire. Anyways, coming back to the topic. So coming to macOS Catalina, one of the biggest changes to macOS Catalina is the brand new music, podcasts and TV apps. Now these are not completely brand new in the sense they were already on the Mac, but in the form of iTunes. So if you have not heard of it already, iTunes is gone forever and is never returning back. Yes. So when I say iTunes, I don't mean Apple Music, podcasts and Apple TV. I mean the Mac application iTunes. It's going to be replaced by the Apple Music app, the Apple Podcasts app and the Apple TV app. So these three are three different apps on macOS Catalina. These are not just built into iTunes where you can just switch between those. They're not there anymore. There's not much difference with the applications itself. The Podcast app is now Project Catalyst app, which is neat, I guess. So yeah, there's not much difference from a normal Mac application, but still it is a Project Catalyst, which is basically a program to go ahead and bring some iOS and iPadOS, say like iPad apps and iPhone apps to the Mac. So there's more of a continuity thing between all the three systems. And yeah, that's probably the biggest change with macOS. Second biggest change is that they have completely revamped the desktop and how the whole system feels. The dashboard has been removed finally. The dashboard was one outdated piece of software that was just there on the left side of anything. So if you go ahead and hold on Control and I guess the left arrow key, you would go into the dashboard, and it was just not a good thing. It was cluttered, it was old. Even the Safari icons were not updated. It was a mess, and they finally removed it in macOS Catalina, which is very nice. So if you're wondering how you're gonna back up your iPhone without iTunes, well, it just happens through Finder. So whatever popped up in iTunes, like the serial numbers, the phone number, the capacity, and everything just pops up under Finder. So there's nothing to lose here and there. And the music and podcast TV app all work just as you expect them. You open them up, there's your music, podcasts and the TV shows and stuff like that. So it is always gonna be the same, but of course they just broke it up just to make it a little simpler and not as bloated as iTunes was. The second biggest change is the Reminders app. So along with iOS and iPadOS, it's getting a revamped Reminders app, so it's a lot more usable. And even the Notes app is getting a revamp this time. There's a new card view where you can look at all your notes and you can select between them. There's just a small preview just next to them, so very neat changes, but not much. And macOS Catalina has even improved on the security, so now it's making a separate partition on the SSD for only your boot stuff. So example, your operating system is now on a separate drive. It's on a separate drive, but it's also on the same drive, if that makes sense. So basically it is the same drive, but it makes a partition on that drive just to not harm anything else. So in case you install a harmful program or something that might infect your Mac, it doesn't infect the system itself, which is awesome. So there's a separate storage utility folder for just, the stuff that you download, watch, and everything else, but there's a separate one for the boot applications, the Apple applications. There's a separate one for that, so macOS is all stored on one and the other applications and other stuff is on the other. So of course the macOS one is going to be way smaller, but it depends on your storage configuration and size. So that is pretty much it for macOS Catalina. Now the reason I'm not talking about iPadOS is that I don't have an iPad that supports iPadOS. The only iPad I have is this 4th gen budget iPad, I guess. So it doesn't run even iOS 11. I think it runs around iOS 10. And if you're wondering why I never showed you the front of this iPad in any of my videos, okay, so now I'm going to be going through all the stuff that they announced in Apple WWDC 2019. So of course the 3 new updates for the 3 new operating systems. One that is completely new, which is iPadOS, just came out, but it's like more of an iOS thing than macOS. It's more like iOS, macOS and then iPadOS. So it's more like that. So looking away from the software and the hardware side, we got some pretty interesting updates this year. And of course the highlighted one has to be the new 2019 Mac Pro. And Apple has bought the cheese grater design back yet again, and it's back with a bang. It's back with a new design. And I'm not really sure if I prefer this design over the older 2012 cheese grater, or I don't know, but I just seem to like that design a little better. But needless to say, it doesn't look as weird as the 2013 trash can Mac Pro. So yeah, we got some pretty interesting updates on the Mac side. This time we have 2 Intel Xeon 28 core processors, and of course this design is very, very controversial. So people are gonna make jokes about it. Don't lead me to do that. The new 2019 Mac Pro is the most amazing Mac Pro we have ever made. You can feed cheese right in the front of the Mac Pro and get it nice and shredded in the back of the Mac Pro. If you prefer your cheese melted, try turning on the 28-core Intel Xeon processor and the 1.5 terabytes of RAM. And not to forget the 6K Retina display, which is a very, very weird name, Apple Pro Display XDR. Now I'm not going to critique this monitor as much as others are doing so, because I understand where this is coming from. This is a professional monitor, okay? You got to understand that this thing has to do a lot of color. It needs to have the perfect colors for those great Hollywood movies that everyone in the Disney company uses, those $40,000 monitors. That's what this is competing with. And even Apple mentioned it in the keynote. It's just something they don't really do. They don't really compare their products with any other ones, but they did in this case because I guess they really thought their product is better. And in a lot of ways, yes, it is a great display. From what people are saying, it is looking to be a very, very decent display, at least for the Pro buys. And people are looking for, the best color accuracy in the market. That Joni Ive voice. Oh, and did I mention that you had to buy the stand? Okay, so how much is that gonna cost now? Yeah, it's gonna cost around $6,000 if you want the monitor with the stand. Wait, so you can buy the monitor without the stand? Yes, you can. So do you have to pay for the stand separately, or what do we need to do? Yeah, you can get the VESA stand, the VESA adapter you can put on any monitor stand, or you can just get the $1,000 the stand that Apple wants you to buy. Wait, did you just say $1,000? Well, if you put it that way, then I will spend $500 on side, this thing should not cost $1,000. Like, just think about it. If you really need to put your monitor on something, it will be a stand, and that stand costs $1,000. I just don't know what to say. You're telling me a stick of aluminum that is probably made from soda cans and a magnet with a hinge costs $1,000. Like, there's literally nothing else on this thing. It's an aluminum stand that just is made of 3 pieces of metal, a stick in the middle, and a freaking hinge that costs $1,000. Apple, are you secretly putting an Intel Core Xeon 28 core in that stand? Are you putting an Apple A12X processor? Are you putting an Intel Core i7 6100K in that monitor stand? What are you hiding from us? Are you putting 1.5 terabytes of storage on that thing? Are you putting 4 terabytes of solid state storage on that thing? I don't get it. What's in that thing? It's literally a monitor stand that costs $1,000. It's almost come to this point where you have to decide between, oh, I have $1,000 burning a hole in my pocket. I need to get something from the Apple store. Oh yeah, what do I get? Do I get an iPhone XS? Do I get a MacBook Air? Or do I get an Apple monitor stand? It's almost like you have to make that decision. Like, should I buy an iPhone XS, the newest iPhone? Has, the Face ID sensor out, it's got an A12X chip. Or should I buy a stand that's made of aluminum, 3 pieces of metal, and a hinge on it for $1,000? Okay, moving on. So rest of the keynote was just, the developer stuff like, Xcode and stuff like that I personally don't care about much. But yeah, I just thought it'd be fun to make this video. So that's pretty much it, I guess. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciated that you were able to stay till this long because it has been a while I've been recording this video. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you on the next one.